Hey guys,
welcome back
to episode 16 of The Word.
Yes.
Gang, gang.
It's
Keyah Rose.
It's Naomi. We are making progress.
Yes, we are.
16 episodes. Insane.
All right. Today we're going to talk about when you feel forgotten about.
Forgotten about by God.
Yep. When you feel like just like God ain't listening to me.
He don't hear me. I am calling out, and then he is hearing my calls.
Yep.
He's not answering though. Like, man,
you see everybody else get their blessings,
and you sitting here still just
waiting,
trying to keep holding strong. You're like, God, hey, I don't know. I know you all knowing.
Yeah.
Did you forget?
Yeah.
About me though. Everybody else seems to be pretty A-okay. I'm not A-okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking real B-.
I feel like I'm in the land of lack. You said you don't do that for us.
You want me to do that now, and here I am. Man. But let's pray and get into this thing.
Yeah, because
we was about to go there.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna say a nice little kind of little prayer.
Yes, ma'am.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to be here today. Thank you for allowing me to have my studio back. Hallelujah.
Amen.
That's been a story. Anyway. Lord, I pray that you have your hand over us and that you speak through us because, as you know, we cannot do it on our own.
Cannot.
Okay. Lord, I pray that this episode will help somebody figure out their life and just bring them to you, straight to you, not to us, but to you, because that's the goal.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I'm so proud of you.
That was
that was. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm very proud of you. All right, man, but kicking off this episode, what to do when you feel forgotten by God? I think we have all been there at some point in time, and it sucks. I'm not going to even hold you.
Yeah.
It definitely sucks. And I think, but sometimes when we talk about like being like forgotten or feeling forgotten by God, one of the things that like I really like helped in those moments, or like someone told me that really helped me, was sometimes when you're feeling forgotten about God, examining your heart posture, right? Like I was coming to God and I was so frustrated and I was so angry, which don't get me wrong, God wants to hear all your emotions. But I was praying to him about something like really, really specific. And I was like, okay, God, why you not answering me? Hey man, say man. I'm still praying. Like it's been 45 days, 45 nights. I'm still praying. And I remember talking to my friends, but I was like, I feel like God doesn't care anymore. Like he doesn't hear me. And because at one point he was talking to me, everything was going great, and then all of a sudden silence. And my friend was like, well, have you looked at your heart posture? And I was like, what you mean? Look at my heart posture. And she was like, friend, like, you know, sometimes when we go to God, it's not that we shouldn't go to God at expectation, but it's like I went to God kind of already knowing what I wanted to happen. Like, so when I was praying, I wasn't necessarily praying the earnest prayer. Like, I wasn't exactly like, hey, God, tell me your will so your will can be done. It was more like, hey, God, but when this happens, you know, grant me the peace and serenity to go through And my friend was like, you know, you keep praying that prayer of like, well, when this happens, what is your heart posture? Because your heart posture isn't praying for God's will to be done. Your heart posture is saying, this is what I want done. I'm going to need you to grace me through that.
Then I don't know. Then how do you like pray earnestly then? Because I'm not understanding.
I mean, for me, I guess because it was like, you know how now when we talk about praying and stuff, I always pray, God, let your will be done. God, show me the will that you want. Show me a part of the will that you want me to act so I know what I need to do. In that moment, it wasn't show me your will. In that moment, this is my will that I want for you to do. And just grace me through that thing. Like, I don't, because in that moment, I really didn't care. I don't want to say I don't care, but like, I didn't want to hear anything other than what I wanted. And so when I was praying to him, it was like my heart posture wasn't right. I wasn't praying to him out of, oh, God, you know, this is really what I would like to do. God, if this is in your will for me to do it, then please, like, you know, allow me, show me. It was more like God, this is really what I want to happen. So no matter what happens, I need to get there. And I just need you to grace me through how I'm going to get there. And so my heart posture wasn't in a good space. And I felt forgotten because when I say I prayed and prayed and prayed and hoped on that thing, and I never heard from him. And I was like, bro, what did I do?
Yeah.
And God had to, like, once my friend checked me about that, I was like, you're right. And it wasn't like intentionally like, oh man, I don't want to hear your will, but it was like, I wanted this so bad that I wasn't thinking about your will.
Right.
And so once I checked my heart posture, and this ain't everybody's story. Some people, totally different situations.
Yeah.
But for me in this moment, because I've felt this way a couple times. I'm sorry, Lord. But but that particular time where I felt that way, it was just like I had to stop and like really like check my heart posture. Like, yo, what are you praying for real? Because right now it don't sound like you're praying for His will. It sounds like you're praying for your will, and you just want Him to grace you through it. And it indeed was not in His will for me to do that. But once I prayed and was like, God, okay, I am sorry for trying to push my will. If clearly this is not what you want from me, show me your will so that I know, or guide me so I understand and I know what it is that you want me to do. And if this isn't in your will for me, give me the grace and give me the understanding to help me cope with it and move on.
Yeah. I think that is like the type of prayer that I would say when I was first starting out in my faith journey. Yeah. Like I pray God's will now. Well, I mean, it's kind of like a mixture. Like I say, like, God, this is what I want to happen. But if it's in your will, then for sure. If not, then please help.
That's honestly what I pray. I'm like, God, if it's in your will, I pray that, if this could happen, or not even just say like, God, just show me what's in your will so I can pray your will. Because I've learned a lot of times things that we may want to happen that may not necessarily not be in His will, but it may not be time for us to have or time for us to act in what we want to do. And so I've learned like, God, help me to pray your will, because I don't know what your will is. You know all that information.
Right.
Help me, God, guide the Holy Spirit in me to help me pray the right thing. Because I've learned that, again, sometimes it's not that God doesn't want to do what we're asking or praying for, because He gives us His will, the desires of our heart. He gives us those things.
Right.
So we're supposed to pray on them. But like also praying for the correct timing, because something that God told me years and years ago, the right thing in the wrong time is the wrong thing. Because you're not going to know how to handle that. Like it don't work out that way. So sometimes when we're feeling forgotten, it's like, God, I'm praying on this thing. And God's like, yeah, but it's not time.
Yeah. That sucks.
I mean, you ain't lying.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. Especially with like, when you're praying for something that it's like a more of a need kind of thing, not just something that you just want to happen.
Right.
Just
a necessity
because,
kind of thing.
Yeah. And I just don't agree that this is just not the time.
I mean, bro, but I also think that sometimes when we don't hear from God and we're like, and we have this conversation about like praying about necessity and we don't necessarily hear from God. God has this thing of doing the supernatural, doing the impossible, and what we feel like is impossible is all possible to Him. But to us, it feels impossible. And sometimes God will wait until that moment to show you there's no situation that I can't handle. I don't care how bad it's starting to look. I don't care how bad it gets.
Right.
If I say that, I can pull you out of it. And sometimes it really is just a testament of our faith, because it's like, again, it's easy to have a whole lot of faith when you're in good standing.
Right.
And it's
I think I said that on the last episode.
Yeah, we did actually. It's easy to have a whole lot of faith when you're in a good standing. It's easy to have a whole lot of faith when you're not quite at that scary point yet. And then the closer that we get to that scary point, because I've been guilty of it too.
Yeah.
The closer that we get to that scary point, it's like, hey, I don't know if, and, God's in like, you're like, God, I have faith and I know that you can, but the question is, will you right now is what I feel like.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, but that's the thing about God is He does, like, He specializes in doing the impossible. And that's across anything though. Like, not even just like financial, or some people it's health-wise. Like, I've been through some stuff with my health journey. I'll tell you about that another time. But I've been through stuff with my health journey, and there was one point of my health journey that I really just felt like I was alone. And I was like, God, what did I do? Like, why aren't you helping me? Why aren't you healing me? Why aren't you? And I was so frustrated in that moment, because I just felt like, why, bro? What did I do? Like, what did I do to deserve this? What did I do to, And it's like, I was going to all these doctors. They kept trying to tell me that I was crazy. I am not. But they kept trying to tell me like, all the issues that I was having, it's all mental. And I was like, my legs not working is me having bleeding episodes is mental, right? But like, and I was so frustrated. I was like, God, I keep going to these doctors. I keep trying, and it's like I keep getting these roundabout
like you're doing your part.
Like I'm doing my part, and I felt like He wasn't doing His. And I'm like, God, you said to come to you for healing. I'm coming to you. I'm doing my best. I'm in my Bible. I'm on my grind. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to the doctor.
Right.
And I just felt like he wasn't present for me there. And I was like, and looking back, I realized that he was present. He was gracing me through it. But like, because the bigger picture is we still don't know what's wrong.
Right.
But God has healed me in ways I'll never be able to explain. Like, when we talk about healing, I think a lot of times we automatically think like the physical body. But God healed my spirit in that time. Because even though I got to the point where I felt frustrated, my back was against the wall, and I felt like, dude, what did I do? Or like hearing some of the diagnoses that sounded kind of scary. It was like, bro, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, why are you not? Like, you hear the stuff that's happening. You made me, so you know what is happening right now. And you're still so far.
Yeah.
And I don't hear you. And why are you not?
Yeah.
But in that time, like, my spirit was renewed so much towards the end of it. Because I ain't gonna lie, sometimes it's a rough patch. And it took a lot of me deciding, okay, God, okay, whatever it is, whatever you say, whatever your will is. Because I got to the point I just got frustrated. I didn't know what to do anymore. And I stopped talking to God for a little bit. And then that didn't feel right. And then I was just like, oh, God, what do you want from me? Like, I feel like I'm praying to you. I'm asking you. People around me are asking you. Like, I was on the whole prayer list of church.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, what is... And in that moment, I felt so alone. Because it was like, for one, I have not met anybody who also has my issues. Two, it's like, again, you told me the prayers of the righteous availeth much. You told me that. It's in the Bible. I read it with my own two eyes.
Right.
People are praying. The righteous are praying. Where are you? It reminds me of that Tamla Man song. Like, truth is, I'm tired. Options are few. I'm trying to pray, but where are you? And that's how I felt in that moment. I was like, God, I feel alone. But God, like, in the midst of me feeling so alone, and in the midst of me, like, feeling like you must have forgotten about me. And I get it. You got things to do. You must have forgotten about me. God reminded me that, like, in me, you're made whole. By my stripes, you were healed. And when we say that, when he was healing, like, he was legitimately healing my spirit, because I was broken at that point. Because I just felt like every single time I went to a doctor, bad news. Bad news, bad news, bad news. I'm like, bro, what is, like, and God in that moment, like, he restored my spirit so much, though, because towards the end of it, again, it was a face, but towards the end of it, when I started, like, again, they still don't know what's wrong with me, but this is the healthiest I've been in forever. Like, I'm living my best life out here. And God has done a lot. He's healed me a lot of places in that physically, but spiritually, I think was the biggest healing, because it was like I said, I felt broken. I felt alone. I felt like God had forgotten about me, and he reassured me, I haven't forgotten about you. Greater is in you that is in the world. I am here. I didn't forget about you. And a lot of that just came through, like, my friends or my family, or literally one of the doctors that I had, will never forget him. Really hope he's worked on his bedside manner since then. But it was my very first time meeting him. I was going into the appointment. This man looked at me, sat down in his little spinny chair. I'm surprised you're alive. You should have been dead. What? Whoa, brother.
Oh, yeah. I think you talked about that in episode 10.
And he was reading, like, he was, like, talking about stuff where I really should have been gone. And God in that moment, like, he told me, he was like, yo, God must have a plan for you. And I was like, thanks. I wish I could. And in that moment, though, later on, as I was, like, driving home, and it was really pondering with me, and God was like, I never left. I never forgot about you. You could have been gone. You could have been dead a couple times, apparently. But I kept you here. And I know that sometimes it's so easy, like, we're forgotten about God because we're not physically hearing.
Yeah, or you just feel like because it's like, you got me here and you kept me here, but why am I living a life of suffrage?
It's like, but why do I have to go through this? But I then learned, because going through that, though, gave me the greatest character development. Because now I'm one of those people that, like, not much can rain on my parade. Like, I can hear bad news, like, well, on to my next life. Jesus, I hear what you're saying. I'm good. I'm still good. Like, you've promised me a future. You promised me this. And so, like, again, when I say, like, it healed me spiritually, it gave me this thing of, like, greater is in me that is in the world. Like, if the same God who could keep me here when odds were stacked against, the same God who, go back to the Bible, brought people out of nowhere, brought people who were dead back to life, the same God who healed Lazarus brought him back to life. The same God who was healing people who had leprosy. The same God who were opening people's eyes who were blind, and people who were deaf were hearing. The same God is on the inside of
Right.
So greater is in me that is in the world. It healed my spirit in such a way in that moment of feeling forgotten. Because God was like, I didn't forget. I've been here the whole time. I didn't forget about you. But your testimony, it adds more to you. Your character development is what's important to me. Because I'm going to give you your goal. I never forgot about you. Something that God reminded me of so often is, the Bible talks about, he put us together in our mother's womb. He shaped us. He formed us. And one of the beautiful things that God's told me recently, and it's just like the past couple months or so, is while I was yet forming you, your purpose and plan was already in my mind. I was creating you with the purpose I already had for you. So if I'm telling you have a purpose and I'm telling you have a plan, I have not forgotten about you. However, there are certain things that have to develop in you before you get there.
Right.
And I don't know. Like I said, everybody's feelings are different.
Yeah.
That was my journey, but everybody's journey isn't the same.
I guess I kind of just feel like it's one of those things where, everybody says faith without works is dead. It's in the Bible.
Right.
But it's like, I feel like part of me, for my specific situation, I feel like I'm waiting on God to do the supernatural thing or this miracle or whatever. Or I could be wrong and I just need to I don't know, do something else, try something different. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard for me to navigate because I just feel like I've just been struggling for a really long time. And it is apparent that I'm not getting any kind of help. So it's like, yeah, I can sit here and I can wait on you for months and months and months. But at what cost?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get it. It's not that I don't believe that God isn't gonna change it, right?
Right.
It's just that I don't want to be stupid in waiting when when the whole time I could have been fixing my situation instead of just waiting on God. You know what I mean? Does that sound bad?
But I think it sounds real though.
Yeah.
Because we're very honest, open on this podcast, and I feel like that sounds real. Because again, sometimes it is it's a human feeling. It's a us feeling God. I know I'm waiting on you, but if I can actively go out and face my situation,
yeah. It's I don't even know, because I'm not necessarily hearing from God right now. So I'm like, what do you want me to do? Do I sit back and relax and wait on you? Not necessarily relax, because I'm not relaxed.
You're really not.
But do I sit back and, do what I've been doing, and I'm working on different stuff and trying to just keep me focused on something different while I wait on you? Or do I just actively go out there and fix my situation? And I feel like a lot of people are telling me yeah, go out and try to do it. Well, I've done that too. And that's still have gotten me nowhere.
But that's why, we've talked about this before, but I feel like sometimes when you're going out and doing something and it's not working and you never had this issue before, God maybe, hey man, I've given you peace of what you're doing. Because I feel like sometimes we also, getting a God peace is very different because it's okay, I may be uncomfortable, but I have your peace. And I feel like a lot of it also is if you're going out and you're trying to do something, trying to make things shake, trying to make things work, and it's not working out, and that's never been a problem before, maybe it is God saying, all right, just trust me for a minute. And it's hard. And don't get me wrong.
Yeah, because I ain't really got much time.
I mean, I understand.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
But it's just I don't know. When I say my mentality is very different now than what it was then, right? And when I say I have the mentality of God can do anything, and it don't matter how bad it looks, God can do anything. And when I think about this, I think about the married Martha and Lazarus story. They called for God. My brother's dying. He's dying. Come, please. He's dying. Lazarus dies. Jesus shows up. Hey, where were you?
Yeah.
We called.
You weren't there.
You weren't there. He is dead. You weren't there. I called. You weren't there. And in that moment, it's so easy to feel forgotten or overlooked. I called. You said to always call on you. I called.
Right.
And Jesus comes. Lazarus, get up. Ye of little faith. Lazarus, get up. He gets up. He walks out. Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Lazarus back.
But to be fair, he died. I have little faith. He died.
But that's what I'm saying, though. I'm saying, for us, the box is here. God's box is everywhere else. And for us, it seemed impossible. Because at that point, my brother is dead, is what they're saying. We called on you. You didn't come. We feel forgotten. We feel left alone. We feel like you weren't where you're supposed to be. But he comes. God's Why are y'all stressed?
Yeah.
It like I'm God. I can do it. Like, and sometimes God will do that though, and it's so easy in a forgotten season to feel like you're not showing up.
Yeah.
You're not on time. I called you, like Mary and Martha felt. I called you. I called on you. You didn't come. My brother died.
Yeah.
God came back. Come on, Lazarus. He gets up. He walks out, and it's like, bro. But in that moment, it's like, did you trust me enough?
Yeah.
Did the faith in me outdo the worry in you? Because sometimes it's faith and worry are a battle.
They can't coexist.
They can't coexist.
Like oil and water.
Oil and water, they cannot coexist. Like you can't be full of worry and full of faith.
Yeah.
And you can't be full of faith and full of worry. And that's not to say that while we have faith, we don't get uncomfortable,
right?
Or we don't get like a little antsy.
Ooh, it's a little scary.
It's a little scary.
The floor is lava.
The floor is lava, and there is a one and only perch. But it's to say that if we have faith in God, that He can do the impossible. And He has shown in the Bible over and over and over and over and over again that He can do the impossible. He's shown in today's world over and over and over He can do the impossible. So it's like our faith has to outlier our fear.
Yeah.
Like, and that's hard.
But I feel like why do we have to go through so much testing? And it's just test after test after test. And you know what? If I could just be open and honest right here, I have never told you this.
Okay.
But so if y'all don't know by now, y'all need to watch some more episodes. I'm having financial issues. So you obviously still work at the job that we worked at.
I do.
But you also babysit a little bit on the side.
I do.
Now, last episode, right, when you were talking about the time that they gave you like a little extra something because were they like out late or something?
It was like the holidays.
Oh yeah, it was New Year's.
Yeah.
So it was like, here you go, Happy New Year. I was like, great friend, that's amazing, and I really was happy for you. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm like, God. So the person with a job gets extra money. I get the struggle. She got a job. What are you doing, Lord? Do you see my bank account? This is unfair. Do you see?
Amen.
I was happy for you, but at the same time, I'm
upset.
Like, and I feel like it's only like it's human for me to feel like that, right?
I would say I'm not upset at all. Like, it's a human feeling. That's the thing. It's a human feeling. And the thing is, I would love to have like some deep answer as to why we have to struggle. I don't. I would love to have some deep theological. This is why.
Yeah.
But I also know that God's so much more interested in our character development.
I know. I've noticed.
But the thing is, though, some of people's character needs to be a little bit more developed.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Than others. And it sounds like, God's making me go through this and that, this and this and that, this. But also, He may be having you go through this, that, this and that, or allowing these things to happen. Because God doesn't make anything bad happen. Yeah. Only good gifts come from God.
But that's why I said test and not tempt.
Yeah, because it's like, God will allow things to happen where it's like, gotta let it happen. But it's also, I think that like I said, character development is such a big thing to God. And again, we've talked about before, to whom much is given, much is required. And with that being said, a lot is required of somebody who is, God has shown us the direction of this podcast and where it's going. And because it is such a big thing, there is a lot that's required of us. A lot of faith, a lot of trust in God. And it's one day this is going to seem like a small thing. And God will come back to this. If I can do it then, in this situation where it's magnified, I can do it better. I can still do it. Yeah. And so it's like when we go through these things, again, trial after trial or tribulate, whatever, and we get to that point where God brings us through it, right? Because He's going to. He's not going to allow you to stay there forever. Yeah. When He brings you through it, on the other side of that, because again, we live in a world where things are going to happen. Yeah. Whether we like it or not. The more blessings, the bigger thing, the bigger platform that you get, things are going to come along with that. Right. And so I look at it as when God says, okay, I know you have money trouble right now, and I'm going to fix that when I fix that. But when we get to this different space, it's like, okay, cool. You have this amount of money. This is what I need you to do. And you're like, but God, that's a lot with a lot. Remember when I did that?
Fair enough.
And so I think like I said, I don't have no super theological deep reason.
No, yeah. I wasn't necessarily asking, but it was just like,
I had to get off your chest.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it though, because like I said, I've been there. I felt that way when I was on my health journey. I felt that way when I just was trying to talk to God, and He never talked back. And I was like, but what do I like?
And girl, I mean, I'm flipping through the Bible. I'm just like,
you do be reading,
and that's another thing. And not that there's anything wrong with the Bible, but I feel like sometimes it's hard. It's me. It's harder for me to see how certain scriptures or stories in the Bible can like apply to my real life in this time, because obviously times are different.
Right.
Or sometimes I'm learning. So I'm good.
It's all good.
I'm figuring out how to
Relate it to real
translate,
life.
if that makes sense.
I mean, but that's one of the things, like, when I say I ask God for wisdom and everything,
Yes,
I literally mean
Yeah.
everything. Because there is sometimes that, like, I don't get it. Like, me and my friend will read a scripture, and she's like, wow. And I'm like, what?
Right.
Or, like, vice versa. There are times I read about it, I'm like, yo, that's dope. And my friend's like,
What?
what'd you read? We read the same thing, right? And I'm like, but when I say I really do ask God for guidance, like, Lord, whatever it is that you want me to get out of this, let it fall on fertile soil in my heart.
Yes, and I always pray that prayer before I open the Bible or read anything, because can't do it on my own.
I promise you I can't.
I can't do nothing basically on my own.
Yeah. Even breathing sometimes is a struggle. I'm asthmatic. Even breathing sometimes is a struggle. I'm asthmatic, bro. Sometimes even
trying to be
help.
a nice, good little sheep.
Okay.
Doing
but
what
again,
I can.
That brings back to what we were talking about earlier. Being a sheep in his pasture. He talks about we are his sheep. He is our shepherd. This sheep's one and only job. Live. Trust your shepherd.
Yep.
Yep. Because the shepherd does everything else. Shepherd's going to lead you where you can eat. Shepherd's not going to lead you into danger. Yep. Shepherd's going to keep you safe. If you're hurt, shepherd's going to pick you back up. Shepherd's going to put you back together. So we were talking about this, going through like that transition period where if they didn't graze that whole field, we now have to go to this field. It's a walk there. And they don't just teleport.
Yeah.
Same thing with us. If we've done all we've done in this assignment and that next assignment's over there, there was a walk to get there.
There definitely is.
Which means there is character building. There is things that are happening. There is spiritual help. There is all of these things that are happening on the way to your next assignment, on the way to the next field. Yeah. So when you get there, you can do it properly.
Yeah. Like I was telling you like earlier, I was like, a lot of people, not enough people are talking about this the transitional phase that you have to go through, because I personally feel like this past year, me and you have just been
transitioning. Transitioning.
And we've been fighting a good fight.
And we up. We up. You know, Jesus up 5 points.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
More than 5.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, reference purposes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But now that we're in like this space, I'm just like, okay, God, you done told us where we're gonna be.
Can we get there?
Yep. It's looking real 8 o'clock-ish.
You can't see what I'm saying? It's looking But it's like I don't know. It's like,
but it's like there's still work to be done,
which is why I feel like when you're in this season of like character development, like, and not even just personally you, but also me, like there's before we get to that next like plateau, like that shoot off phase, not plateau, wrong word. Yeah, there's like that shoot off phase. It's like there's still work that has to be done, and there are still things that like both of us are actively working on. Like yours may be more of like a financial state. Mine is more of like being not so what's the word I'm looking for?
Emotionally unavailable.
Sorry. That's not where I was going. I mean, yeah, I probably should work on being a little less emotionally unavailable.
I mean, that's where I thought you were going. Sorry.
No.
We've already done all this, so.
I was talking about not being so lackadaisical.
I'm sorry. I don't even know what that means. That's a big word.
I won't say being nonchalant, but you know, like God will tell you something, or like we'll do, like we know we're gonna do something, and I'm like, okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. Yeah. Or like I don't necessarily do it like as like,
oh my God, bro, I'm so sorry. Look, I love you to death.
Oh, what? Sounds like Bolshevik. It's about to come next.
I cannot stand when you do that.
I know.
It bothers me so bad. It bothers me so bad.
I'm working on it.
Listen, God will be like, okay, I want you to do this. She'll do it 3 days later. I'm like, oh my God, if you don't do it now, I feel like I'm your sister right now. And I'm like, but Dad said, and she's like, oh yeah, I will. When?
But that's the thing that I'm working on. Like I am becoming a lot more proactive. Or like if God tells me to do it, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it. Like the other day, when he was like, pack.
Yes.
Well, let me get home and do this thing.
But even then, she did it like the next day or whatever.
Okay, when he told you to pack, I ain't doing that.
Okay.
But like
fair
when he
enough.
told me in my car, in the silence of my car, pack. Yep. Went home, packed all that bad boy up. When he told me like I'm still working, like I said, I'm not the best at it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Procrastination is where I thrive. It's you made paper. You made good college papers I have written in procrastination.
Wow.
Like, bro, my English class we had to do a funny story. My English class we had to do like a Disney story or whatever, and it was like just like kind of like writing a summary on Disney stories or whatever. And I wrote mine on Finding Dory because we all know how I feel. And I wrote that story. It was due at 11 o'clock. I was in that there computer lab at 9:30.
Wow.
Typing away.
I couldn't have done it.
Oh, baby. Not only was it 6 pages, double space, 12 font.
Wow.
I got that grade pack. It was an A+.
Wow.
Like I said, when I say I thrive in procrastination.
I don't procrastinate, but that does remind me of another story. When I had an English paper due, and it was on a book.
You didn't read that book.
I did not read that book.
You did not read that. I know my friend.
It was a boring book.
What was the book?
I don't even remember. I just know I read oh, you know what? Here's why I didn't read it. It was a book about pirates. I said, I'm not reading this. And I feel like that's because I have PTSD from school. Because if we had like an English EOG and it was a book about like pirates or anything having to do with like the history of something, I'm not reading it and I'm not understanding it. And so anyway, I didn't read the book about pirates.
I figured.
And everybody in the class thought I was so smart. They even thought I was an English major because of how that paper Okay. But you know what? Thug notes. Yeah. I say, did y'all even try to like not read the book? If you're not gonna read the book, you at least gotta know the summary.
Dude, you gotta.
Spark notes, Thug notes.
Read the Spark notes, my brother. Just skim through it.
Spark notes, bro.
Okay.
I said, bro, no, I'm not reading. I got 5 other classes of work to no.
I would say English was like my happy point. It's like I didn't mind doing stuff like that. Like when I say. Like, I'm working on not procrastinating as much because I am a procrastinator. I know that about myself. That ain't no secret.
Yeah.
But, like, I am learning to not do it. For me, like I said, procrastination is where I thrive. Like, I got to bust a 10-page paper out. Guess what? I'm finna do an hour ahead, 2 hours ahead. I can do that.
Yeah.
I got to make some speech or whatever. Give me about 15 minutes before we go up there. Hey, like, these are all things that, like, and I do great.
Yeah.
I, like, think that God graces me because he knows his child.
Definitely.
But he is working on me being more of like, if I say it, do it in that moment.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not like I'm not going to do it. Like I told you, I'm going to do it now. Because I'm going to listen to what God tells me to do.
Yeah.
Now, I may not be in that moment. And that's what God's working me on. Like, if I say do it in this moment, do it in this moment.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what the next moment holds for you.
Right.
And you may not be able to circle back to this moment.
And that even, I know we're getting a little bit off topic, y'all. I'm sorry. But that brings me to something that I told you yesterday. I was like, you don't know... like you're not walking in your purpose, so you might be holding somebody else up.
Yes, bro.
And I feel like if you're not doing what God says, like when He says it, it's like you just never know how that could affect.
You don't know who else's purpose, or who else's walk, because you don't know where God gonna use you at.
Right.
And so if God wants you to be at point A, so the person on point C meets you at point B,
right?
But He gets to point B and you still at point A.
Right.
You missed it.
That's why I need you to be on your.
I'm getting there.
Yes. I need you to be on your. I'm not playing around.
I know. I'm actively doing better.
I'm gonna show you my bank statements after this.
Friend, don't do that.
No, you gonna cry. I'm gonna cry too. We gonna cry together.
You're gonna cry. I'm gonna pat.
No, you're gonna see these bank statements, and you're gonna be like,
please don't
friend.
see your bank statements.
I'll show you my bank statement.
Okay, we'll do it over dinner.
Okay, cool. That's perfect time to do it.
Okay. I don't know how we got here, but
it's okay.
reversing back.
When God forgets about you.
Okay, or sometimes you feel forgotten.
Yes.
I don't know how this episode got to where it got.
It's okay.
But that's okay because God tends to do that in our episodes, and that's all right. But I feel like we didn't really discuss it so much.
We kind of just told our stories about
like how we felt in that moment.
Yeah.
Because again, we are actively in the transition phase. Like we're not on the other side of it yet.
Yeah. I think it's because there's no actual answer to fix it. There's no specific solution to the problem. It's just you just have to
faith and trust through it.
Yes. And talk to God.
Talk to God. Please talk to God. I think so many times we run to other people or we run to whoever else and God's like, I'm right here.
Yes. I would say talk to God first. And then if you're in one of those phases, because I feel like there are seasons in your life where God doesn't talk to you. I feel like that is when you can kind of consult wise counsel or go to your local church.
Keyword wise,
please
counsel.
Y'all don't be going to Brother Nim about,
because they may not understand. Don't be going to the random person, because everybody is not going to understand what God is doing for you, through you, or with you.
Yes.
And sometimes there are people that, because they do not understand, talk badly against, encourage you not to do, encourage you to sit back. And those people are not wise counsel. When he says go to wise counsel, those who know God, those who seek God, those who are actively talking and walking with God, those are who you go talk to. Because
people who you can see the fruit of their work.
God says we know them by their fruit. Because somebody can talk a great game, but their fruit is trash.
Just like that church we went to.
Ooh.
I mean, it was church. Now,
we're not going to talk about that. It was church.
It was church.
A church.
It was a church.
Yep.
Moving on.
Kept it going. Woo.
Yeah.
But again, when you're going to seek wise counsel, in the moments where like you feel like God has forgotten about you, that the enemy tries to sneak in so hard in those moments. Like, see, I told you it wasn't real. I told you you weren't here. I told you didn't have a purpose. I told you. And he speaks so in those moments. But you have to remember that God has not forgotten about me, because if the same God that created the whole entire world, the mountains, the valleys, the trees, the animals, he looked at this earth and said, wow, it needs a you. Wow, it needs a Keyah.
Yep.
Wow, it needs a Naomi.
Right.
If he looked at you and put you on this earth, you have a purpose and a plan.
Yep.
And just remember, he's more interested in your character development.
Yeah.
He's trying to get you there and ready. So you feel in that season, again, I don't have all the answers. She don't got all the answers. We don't got all the answers. We are actively in this season, and all I can tell you is trust.
Yeah.
Just trust in God, because again, like you said, most people don't talk about this season. They don't talk about the trend. Like, they wait till they're on the other side of it to talk about it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it now.
No, because y'all gonna hear this journey.
Let me tell you something. We over there. Oh, baby.
Y'all gonna hear this testimony.
Because I'm going to tell you, hey, go back to episode 16. So we can tell you that it didn't start out like this.
Yes.
That we were in a transition, and we're still actively there. And the only thing that's been holding on thus far is, God, I trust you. God, I'm asking for your will. God, if I don't hear nothing from you right now, I'm gonna stick to the last thing you told me. I'm gonna continue to walk in what you've told me thus far.
Yeah.
God, I'm talking to you. I'm never gonna stop talking. I'm gonna keep trusting you. I'm gonna keep praying for you, because I know that you can do the impossible in my life. It's just a matter of waiting for it to happen.
Right.
And allow my heart not to grow weary. Because it says, if you faint not.
Yeah. Right. And I feel like the thing is, God doesn't want you to lack.
No.
Right. And even if you're lacking right now,
You got this.
yes. But I feel like it's important to see, like, I'm more intrigued to see where this is gonna go.
That's
I'm
my
intrigued
curiosity.
to see. Yeah, I'm very, very curious about it. So that's another reason why I'm gonna stick it out and like,
because I know there's a brighter side.
Because I know there has to be,
and I'm curious as to how I'm gonna get to that brighter side.
Right.
Because again, if God does the impossible, I am interested to see what impossible He does in my life.
Exactly.
I am interested to see how He's going to get me there. Like, the transition is not the end.
Yeah.
Again, our job is sheep. Live, trust our shepherd.
Live. Because if you don't live to see, then you'll never know.
Okay, please understand. Live. Live to see. You have a purpose here. You have a value here.
Yes.
If you feel like you're being forgotten, you're not forgotten. For one. For two, find a community. Find a local church. Find wise counsel. Again, I say this every single episode. Our DMs are open.
Yeah.
We read them. When I say we read all your stuff, we read them. We actively go through them. You are not forgotten. If you need somebody to pray for you, pray over you, pray with you. Hey, we here.
Yeah.
Find a local church. Get involved in the community. Do something so you're not feeling so alone.
Yeah.
And find wise counsel in that. Because again, you have to live to see what's on the other side of it.
Yeah.
If you give up now, that is exactly what the enemy wants. Is for him to take another person off the roster.
Yes.
And if he can take you out and you can't get to your purpose, that is one blessing he was able to block. You have so much of a purpose to be here on this earth. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother. I don't care what you tell yourself. You have a purpose on this earth.
Indeed.
Okay? You have to live to see the other side of this transition, because you will and you can.
Ain't gonna last forever, y'all. But
again,
on that note, matter of fact, before we wrap this up, follow us.
Yes.
On Instagram and TikTok at The Word Podcast.
Please
Live.
subscribe to the YouTube.
Subscribe to YouTube.
The Word Podcast.
Follow us on all our audio only platforms.
Yes. We here.
Yes. It's Keyah Rose.
It's Naomi.
And we love you.
All right.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you.